Welcome back, YouTube world, people, everybody else. Sometimes I like to get involved in the science of things, especially when I have a comeback. So this was a converter we installed on a 1760 Chevy van, and the vehicle returned with efficiency code on one side, and we did the other side also, so I needed to find out why. 75,000 miles, doesn't appear to be abused. The paint is not burned off the catalyst body, which tells me that the exhaust gas temperatures aren't super high, in my experience. So then, if I look inside, I'm going to get a tape measure. Hold on, we're going to get a tape measure, and we're going to measure the gap in the insulation. All right, Jeepster, hold it up.
Yes, ma'am.
So let's get a marker, and we're just going to give this a baseline here. We'll just say, I'm not going to try and exaggerate this. So that gap in the insulation brick right there is 1.5 inches, give or take. Flip it around. I don't even see insulation on the back side of this brick. So that must have blown out. I don't know, but there is no insulation insulating that part of the brick. So now if you look at the catalyst brick inside on the inlet, let's get in the inlet. There's surface plugging. Let's see if I can't get you to see that. And this one's not as bad as the other one. Flip it over. Okay, so now you can see it on this one. So all the little dots that you see in that substrate honeycomb that is exactly a little brighter than the brick is all, in my opinion, something that's coming through the catalyst. And if you look at the very top of where the honeycomb is, you can see it too, that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 just on a view. And I'm not going to tear this apart just to get into that. But when we're talking about catalytic converters being efficient, the exhaust gases actually have to pass through a certain amount of surface in the catalyst to control the emissions, correct? So if you have 100% brick, 100% whole clarity, then you could say that the exhaust is passing through 100% of the brick. If the brick here, right, is getting exhaust gases that are passing through it and then hits an obstruction, it's going to build up in the flow path, right? And then probably make a little bit of a backflow and then try and have it go through someplace else. My point is it's not sampling the whole brick.
It's still
Least path of resistance. So and then on top of the insulation being a problem, but now we're going to move on to a brand new converter out of the box, and then we're going to see this other stuff. So this is the inlet side. So then you can see all this brighter stuff in there. Let's see if we can get a better view. There you go. So all the white stuff in there, I don't know what that is. It's some type of coating. I don't know if that's precious metals in a liquid form that they're spraying on it, but that's restrictions in the catalyst brick. I don't think that's going to blow out. But that, excuse me, if you look at the insulation gap up there, let's put a marker on it. And Jude and I, and Caleb and I are going to say 1/8 to 1/4. And I don't know how they wrap the insulation in. I'm wondering, give me a piece of MIG wire peel me off a piece of MIG wire. So I'm going to see how far, actually, I'll use this zip tie if I can get in there. Let's just see. So this is the exhaust gases, right? And I don't know how I need something smaller, Caleb. So that went in like 1/2 inch. I'm just curious of how far it goes back, or do they just lap the installation like, you know, piston rings. Like you don't have piston rings gaps all on the same side. They lap them.
Just for the pure fact that you don't want it to blow out.
But then you could see all this, that plugging in the catalyst brick, and it's substantial in my opinion when you're talking about you need the exhaust to flow through the whole brick. Flip it over to the other side. So they're gonna go to the outlet side, and then this side too. I mean, you could just see the matting of whatever this is in the brick that's reducing the flow. And then let's look at that gap up there. So it does look like on this side that they weave that. But if the insulation actually starts to move, right, back and forth for some reason or another, the exhaust gases are going to just follow. Right, it's going to pass. It's not going to pass through the brick. Hold this light. Yeah. Okay. But it looks like there's just snot all over this brand new converter, which is going to restrict the flow of the exhaust, not passing through this catalyst. So let's get in there. Sorry with the camera work. Go ahead. So that goes back about an inch on that side. Flip it over. But that's an inch of exhaust gases going where it doesn't need to go. And that's about an inch or a half inch. So exhaust gases not going where they need to go. But I just wanted to know what the explanation was of new catalyst surface brick already being plugged. And then same thing with this one. This is not plugged from the way the engine is running. It's just plugged similar to how that one was plugged. And I don't feel that it's going to blow out. But look at this one. So this is a non-AP product. And then the surface plugging, I can count 2 in this whole substrate, where this catalytic converter, 50 or more. All right, and then I look at this one, the gap in installation is probably less than an eighth, and there's no gap in the insulation on this side whatsoever. And there's no direction on this, so if I was a betting man, I would say this is getting a good saturation of exhaust through the entire brick with minimal restriction from manufacturing. I see 3 little plugs on this side and just about none on this side. So 3 and none, 50 or more, or 80 or more, and then this one has 20-ish. But I'm just curious. I'm trying to stop comebacks at my shop. You know, I'm trying to provide customers with an affordable solution. 75,000 mile, 1760 LS engine. Paint it with paint. I assure you that if the exhaust gas temperatures were too high, this stuff would have burned right off. So I tell you, the moderate exhaust gas temperatures, I didn't measure it, but painted exhaust systems don't usually hold up when you have over super high exhaust gas temperatures. If it's within the specified range, this is probably 500 degree paint. I'm not sure. I don't think they make yellow and orange paint in high temp, but I don't know. I didn't do this. Someone else did. We even just say 1,000 degrees. If it hit 1,000, I mean, I could fire the torch up and we could test it, but I'm not going to go that far. That's all. Thanks for watching.